Hi everyone, my name is Shivani and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and founder of Zeste Immigration Services Incorporation. Today in this video, we are going to be talking about Canada visitor visa refusals, reasons for refusals, how to overcome them, how to prevent them, and also how to apply for the GCMS notes. Stay tuned. Canada Visitor Visa has one of the easiest requirements as compared to other visa categories. There is no requirement to prove English or French proficiency. However, refusal rate with the visitor visas are higher because of multiple reasons. Sometimes these reasons seem unfair and illogical. But still, the onus is on the applicant to make sure that their application addresses these reasons in a genuine manner. Visa rejection depends on the discretion of the visa officer and how they perceive your application. When an immigration officer makes a decision on a visa application, they are required by the law to document the reasons for the decision, and therefore one of the best ways to find them out is by submitting the GCMS notes request. Later in the video, I'll show you on how you can apply for the GCMS notes, so make sure to watch this entire video till the end. So let's first discuss the refusal reasons and try to understand them. Failure to meet Section 179 subsection B of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations, also known as IRPR, is the most frequently cited reason for refusal of a visitor visa application to Canada. Most visitor visa refusals stem from failure to meet this requirement in different ways. Visa refusal based on travel history. Refusals based on travel history are difficult but can be overcome with a new application. IRCC refuses application based on travel history when an applicant has not been outside their home country previously or has traveled outside their home country but not very often. Sometimes this is even the grounds for refusal when an applicant has extensive travel history. Technically, this should not be a ground of a refusal because in a landmark decision by federal court in 2009, Justice Harrington concluded that the travel history is neutral at best. Consequently, the officers may favor those who have traveled outside their home country. However, they may not refuse an application based on lack of travel history. Now, you must be thinking, then why do the officers do it? Why do they continue to refuse applications based on this ground? Well, the federal court offers judicial oversight for the immigration authorities. Consequently, one expects the officers to respect multiple decisions made by the court and stop refusing applications based on travel history. However, the records show otherwise. It is confusing why this practice continues. Of course, until there is a change, you have no choice but to consider travel history as a factor in processing your TRV applications. Visa refusal based on purpose of visit. A visitor visa refusal based on the purpose of visit is tricky because it is such a highly discretionary reason for the refusal. Sometimes this reason for refusal is given because not enough detail was provided on the application regarding why specifically the applicant was coming to Canada. For example, if the applicant said they were coming to visit their friend, this is vague and the officer could have doubts about the reason. Whereas if the applicant provides a letter of invitation from a friend or family in Canada to attend an event, or any strong reasons to visit Canada may improve chances of receiving the approval. Both tourism and family visit are acceptable reasons to visit Canada, and hence if your purpose is tourism, make sure you submit a nice and detailed itinerary to convince the officer. Visa refusal based on family ties. A refusal based on family ties of the applicant, whether in Canada or in the country of residence or both, are extremely common grounds for refusal on a visitor visa. If the applicant has family in Canada, then this can work against the applicant as it is one of the reasons that they may not wish to return home at the end of their stay in Canada. Therefore, if the applicant is applying to visit his or her spouse or an immediate family member in Canada, all of his or her family resides in their home country, then this requires detailed explanation regarding the nature of the applicant's ties, both places, in Canada and in home country. Visa refusal based on immigration status. In order to submit an application for a visa to come to Canada, the applicant is required by law to have a legal status in country where they are located when they submit the application. Besides having legal status there, the applicant also must have been admitted to the country for a minimum amount of time or their visa application will be refused. Sufficient proof of the applicant's legal status in their country of residence at the time they make the application has to be included when they apply for a visa to Canada. Otherwise, the application will be refused. For example, if you're an Indian citizen but you're currently in the US, then you must demonstrate your legal status in the US, that whether you're a visitor, student, or a worker or a green card holder, and whether you admitted to that country legally. Visa refusal based on personal assets and financial status. As an applicant for a visitor visa to Canada, it is extremely important to prove to the immigration officer that you have enough money to finance your trip to Canada. In a visa application, you have to prove that you have sufficient funds to pay for your ticket and travel to Canada, have sufficient funds to pay for the costs during your visit, such as tourism, meals, lodging, gifts, etc. Have sufficient funds to pay for your ticket and travel back to your home country or your country of residence. If the RCIC does not believe that you have sufficient money to pay for your trip, they will refuse your application based on personal assets and financial status. Also, be aware that personal assets and financial status refers to the funds held by and accessible to the applicant for the visa and not by the Canadian inviter. An application for a Canadian visa should include financial information and documents belonging to the Canadian citizen or permanent resident who has invited the foreign national for a visit. However, the applicant for the visa must also show funds of their own. Visa refusal based on insufficient funds, income, or assets. An immigration officer may refuse a visa application to Canada if they believe that you do not have enough money to pay for your trip to Canada for the purpose that you have stated on your application. They also cannot issue you a visa if they believe that you do not have enough money to pay for your trip back to your home country. If the purpose of your visit would reasonably cost more money than you have demonstrated, in that case, it's likely that you'll receive a refusal. Visa refusal based on insufficient documentation of income and assets. Well, the applicant who's applying for Canadian visa is required to prove that they meet all the requirements of visa issuance. The burden of proof is on the visa applicant and not on Canadian immigration officials. If the applicant has stated that they have access to a certain amount of money or that their Canadian host has access to a certain amount of money to support the visa application, then they must demonstrate this with the documentation. If the applicant does not provide documentation or evidence to show what they are saying is true, in this case, your visa can get refused on this ground. Visa refusal based on length of proposed stay. Because visitors who enter Canada can stay up to maximum of 6 months unless they are advised otherwise by the CBSA officer on the border when they arrive, many people believe that they should state 6 months as their proposed length of stay on the visitor visa application. However, the length of proposed stay is very common ground for refusal. Asking for the maximum amount of time allowable to visitors in Canada is not usually viewed as reasonable by officers and makes it look more likely that the applicant will not leave on time. Therefore, it is highly advised that the length of your proposed stay is less than 6 months. You can keep it somewhere about 1 to 2 months or maximum 3 months. Visa refusal based on current employment situation. While applying for a Canadian visitor visa, it is extremely important for the applicants to show that they have enough money to finance their trip to Canada. It is also important that they show where this money is coming from. The absolute best way to show the source of their funds is to prove that they are currently employed. Applicants for a Canadian visa are considered at higher risk to break the conditions of their entry and overstay in Canada if they are unemployed at the time of their application. A job in the visa applicant's home country is one of the strongest ties that they can show to their country of residence or their home country. This will definitely help them prove that they will return to their current country of residence or to their home country once their trip in Canada is over. Being self-employed or enrolled full-time in school is also a strong tie to visa applicant's home country. However, if the applicant is out of school and is not working in any way, there is a significant challenge to overcome on a Canadian visa application. Visa refusal based on employment prospects in country of residence. As described before, the financial documentation of the applicant is the most important part of their Canadian visitor visa application. Applicants for a visa need to show not only that they have the money to pay for their trip to Canada, but also that they are employed as a proof of where their funds are coming from. If the unemployment rate is high in the country of residence of the visa applicant, then this can negatively impact the Canadian visa application. If an immigration officer believes that an applicant is likely to lose their job as a result of traveling to Canada, or that they are unlikely to be able to get a job if they are not currently working, employment prospects in the country of residence can be used as grounds for refusal of the visa application. Visa refusal based on misrepresentation. Believe me, this is the worst one. In the event that the RCIC does not believe that the documents or information you have submitted are genuine, this alone is grounds for refusal of your visa application, which is under Section 40 of the Immigration Refugee Protection Act for misrepresentation. If an applicant for any visa or type of immigration to Canada has been determined by RCIC to have misrepresented, then they will be subject to a bar from entering to Canada for a certain period of time, which is most probably for 5 years, and any future immigration applications will be reviewed or viewed with skepticism. Your visa application to Canada may also be refused based on medical or criminal inadmissibility. Applicants who have medical conditions that endanger public health or safety or criminal convictions may be denied entry to Canada, and their visa requests can be denied. If you have a criminal history, whether minor or major, or if you have a medical condition that may pose a risk to public health or safety, or if you have not provided a valid medical examination, the IRCC may deny your application. Let's learn how you can prevent rejection of visitor visa to Canada. Well, to help prevent the rejection of a visitor visa to Canada, you should undertake these steps. First, before you apply, make sure you understand the requirements and the documents that are needed for a visitor visa. It is important to provide all the required information and documentation. Next, ensure that the information you provide on your application is accurate and complete. If you have any doubts or confusion, ask for clarification. You may also book a consultation with me if you are confused about your application. The link is in the description. Providing any false or misleading information can lead to rejection of your application. Next, provide evidence that you have strong ties to your home country, such as job, property, or family. This will demonstrate to the visa officer that you have a reason to return back to your home country after you're done with your visit in Canada. Next is furnish proof that you have enough money to support yourself during your stay in Canada. This can be in the form of bank statements, a letter of employment, or a letter of support from a sponsor. Next, if you are visiting friends or family in Canada, a letter of invitation from the host can help demonstrate your plans for a visit to Canada. Next, if a medical examination is required, make sure you complete it before you apply and provide the results with your application. Next, if you have any previous immigration or criminal history, it's important to be honest about your application. Now let me show you how you can obtain GCMS or KPIS notes. So here's how you can apply for the GCMS notes. I'll link this website down below in the description box, so that way it's going to be easier for you to find it. Also known as Access to Information Act, ATIP requests. Okay, scrolling down, there are two ways to apply. Either apply online or by mail. Let's explore apply online. Click the language preference. And then you'll be able to read all this information over here. Make sure that you read every single piece of information before you apply. It's extremely important. Now, one of the requirements, you should have some sort of status in Canada to be able to apply. Either you should be a Canadian citizen or a PR, or you should be having Canadian work permit, study permit, or visitor permit already. But, of course, if you are applying for the very first time and your application was rejected, you do not have any sort of status, then in that case, you can take a friend or family member's help who's in Canada on any of this status.
Okay, they can do it on your behalf. Or if you do not know someone in Canada, you can reach out to someone like us and we'll be able to do it for you. All right. Make sure that you read the rest of the information over here because it's extremely important. Again, the $5 fee will be applicable. Right. Yes, so that's it. You can go further, answer all the questions, and then it's going to help you to do it. So we'll bring you to this page as soon as you click next. Continue. And then here's the form. All right. Here's how you can fill out all the information and then submit the form.
So, if you have received refusal, here's a 4-step system that you can follow. Step 1. Obtain the GCMS notes of the officer on your previous application. Step 2. Book a consultation with me to review the files and strategize on your new application. Consultation booking link is in the description box. You can book the virtual consultation with me from anywhere in this world. Locals can choose to book the consultation with me either virtually or in person. Step 3. Prepare a complete list of documents that I recommend during the consultation in order to make your application stronger. And step 4. Apply. If you are confident, then you may apply for a visitor visa application on your own. Otherwise, I and my team will be more than happy to assist you with your next visitor visa application to Canada. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please also hit the bell icon so that you get notified every single time I post a new video. If you wish to talk about your Canadian immigration case or your Canadian immigration options, then feel free to book a consultation with me using the link in the description box. Thank you for your time today.